So, Winx Club has released all the transformation sequences from the upcoming reboot, and they're not good. So, I'm going to review and analyze them because I have a lot of thoughts as someone who loves the franchise and spent 4 years in design school. If you're not one of the four people that I told about this, then hey, I'm Phelan, and this is my first video and first piece of content that I'm posting under this moniker. I am a professional writer and designer as well as an artist. And I was originally going to start this channel with my Winx Season 4 and 5 rewrites, but I had a lot of opinions about this transformation that I wanted to share, and I also thought it would be really good practice for me, so any constructive criticism is welcome. I'm going to start by going through each girl individually and then we'll get into the transformation as a whole. Flora, starting off with just the sequence, the intro is a hit and a miss for me. I like how she's coming out of this flower bud that blooms as she gets swept out, but I don't like how she's sleeping at the start and how passive she is during this. Transformations are things that fairies make happen, and it's not something that's done to them. And then we have the acrobatics. The only way they make sense, in my opinion, is if they've completely changed Flora's personality, from soft-spoken, shy, and reserved to be more sporty, outgoing, and extroverted, which I don't think is the case for various reasons. Mainly the intro, how they styled her, and according to the trailer, the reboot seems pretty close to the OG Season 1. Also, it would be dumb for multiple reasons to change the personality of a legacy character like the Winx are now. If they haven't changed her personality, then the only way this makes sense is that it's a what else can I do from Encanto moment. And honestly, this transformation sequence does remind me of that. But if that's the effect they wanted, where someone is breaking out of their shell, they didn't accomplish that. Because the entire point of that song is that the main character there isn't just a pretty pink princess, and she has all these colors that she gets painted with by the end. Whereas Flora's sequence just remains pinks and pastels throughout, which is an issue with the outfit as well. Also, the sequence overall is just too fast-paced for me. I understand that they were trying to do something dynamic and cool, but it doesn't breathe or let you take in anything till the very end. Some of the shots are also just weird, like this one. There's also constant giggling, which I find very annoying, but that's something I'll get into later. I also like all the effects they've used, and I think they do a good job of showing off her powers. But other than the introduction, I don't think this is that great. For the outfit, I think it's fine. It's one of the stronger ones because of clarity. Like, looking at it, you can immediately get what Flora is all about. But it's very one note, and the lack of greens or purpley pink tones doesn't help here, because those were very important accent colors for contrast reasons, which creates visual interest in her look. I also don't like the skirt a lot. Its shape, because of the amount of layers, is just weird for me. But I do like that she's got these shorter boot heels instead of thigh or knee highs like the others. I think overall she got one of the stronger outfits for this transformation, if not the strongest. I think her hair is also nice, easily the best looking of the bunch. I think they got her hair physics better than anyone else's, so her hair moves really well compared to the others. Her wings are the simplest, but I think it works with how busy her outfit is with the floral appliques and hair accessories. But again, I think they would have been better if they'd been green. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention her skin tone. Her skin tone here is very light compared to anything in 2D, which is a consistent issue that the Winx 3D art style has had with her. And especially after Fate, where her character was replaced with a white woman, it's a pretty yikes decision for me. I really like Tecna's intro. The hexagons, the circuit patterns, the holographic displays, I love it all. How quickly her outfit just appears, I do not love. I'm not kidding, it literally takes 2 seconds for the entire outfit to materialize. And I think two things happened here. One is that they realized her outfit isn't good and decided to just kind of skip over it. And two, Tecna has never gotten the attention and budget she deserves from Rainbow, and that seems to be continuing here. Though I do like the little eye moment and this moment where she creates her little headpiece. I think that they're going for the half robot android route for her, which I have mixed feelings on, but I'm waiting to see how they handle it. There is then just a lot of fast-paced spinning and twirling with no rhyme or reason. For the outfit, like I said, I hate this look. A fairy should not be wearing a sports bra and legging athleisure combination. I get that this choice was probably to make her more appealing to kids, And her OG outfit with the helmet, full jumpsuit, and paraglider wings is very different and weird compared to any of the fairies, and especially the rest of the Winx Club. But there were better options than this basicness, and I'm going to link to some fan art in the description so you can see what I mean about better options for the outfit. It's also not unique. It does not tell me what her powers or personality are at a glance, and does not give techno futuristic at all. Their attempts with the light up slash neon green details on the waist and hems, I think it's really bad. The color of the green is too cool toned in my opinion, and why couldn't we just do the light up details like all over in either pinstripes or a circuit pattern or on our arms as a glove or something? There's also a huge lack of glitter in these looks, which I don't understand because you can clearly animate it on the jumpsuits and wings, and it's in the art. I also love the fringe. I just pay raise for whoever made that decision. And I think her wings are cute, but basic in shape and have too many colors. They used pink here again for no reason, whereas these should have just been green and purples. But overall, I think she got a good sequence and just terrible outfit. I do not like this intro, honestly. Musa was always one of the most ready to fight, and this intro is just too lackadaisic in my opinion. But this strumming she does once she bursts out of this bubble is a very cool way to show off her powers, and then those chords turn into her outfit. Honestly, perfection. Again, though, it takes a maximum of 3 seconds for her outfit to appear, though they do let us see the details while she does a little two step, which I think is nice. And her wings, absolutely gorgeous. I love the design, and it's clearly based on piano keys, and I think a harmonica or something, which is so much better than just clef and treble notes on her wings, which is what I was afraid of. The only point I have is that visually they have the look of being kind of heavy because of the gold parts. Otherwise, I love them. Outfit wise, I think this is solidly middle of the pack because it's one of the simplest. Musa, along with Tecna, has never gotten much attention and priority from Rainbow, but here I think it somewhat saved her. I assume they did this torso cutout because they didn't want to put her in a two piece with a separate skirt and top when Bloom and Stella already have that look. But it's honestly fine, and this cutout adds a bit of interest. There is again an overuse of pink tones with this weird candy cane stripe that curves along the dress, and her shoes are just entirely pink. And these purple accents should have been dark blue or burgundy red, again for contrast reasons within the look itself, and as a unit because most of the girls have these pink and purpley tones in their looks. But overall, it's just a middling transformation. If OG Stella saw what they've done to her, she would probably blow something up again. Her intro of her bursting out from the sun into the night sky with this fireworks show and the giant moon in the background is pretty decent, and it makes me very, very happy. I never got why Rainbow wiped her moon powers and took away something so interesting from her character, and I'm so happy it's back. I also love her flying over the sun with these solar flares in the background. It's a genuinely amazing shot. I want to get into her hair. It just looks weird. Honestly, all of them kind of have this uncanny valley issue with their hair. That is honestly the best way I can describe the ick I get when I see it. And Stella suffers the worst. It's the lack of movement in her pigtails despite how long they are, and also the forehead size. Because all the other girls have bangs or fringes to help frame their face. And when Stella gets bangs, despite how weird they are, it does help a lot. Also, I don't think Stella would ever wear pigtails on the daily. I think they should have kept the original sequence with her hair being down and her tying it up to fight someone in her transformation. Her outfit is again mid. I like the thigh highs but wish the gradient was blue to yellow instead of pink to yellow to highlight her moon powers a bit more. For the top, I get the effect they were going for, but as a standalone, I think it's one of the best designs out of all the girls. Just over detailed, which the skirt also suffers from. The transformation did not give a second of focus to the skirt, but it seems pretty decent. Like the waist details are great, but the lines going down it make no sense whatsoever, especially as the skirt is not pleated. Her wings are gorgeous, they look like stained glass. I think they would have been better with the same texture that Musa's have, or the texture of Tecna's leggings, But yeah, I really like these. And her ending pose is easily the best of the lot. It really makes her and the transformation look amazing. Aisha got the best sequence by far. She pops out of this bubble of water to swim through the ocean and surf the waves, and as she does, these spirals of water surround her, and the hair flip she does is exquisite. This is a very good sequence by any standards and shows off her water powers and personality super well. The only issues I have here are again the 2 nanoseconds given to her outfit change and the lack of morphics. Unless the spirals around her was supposed to be her morphics powers. But yeah, she really wants sequence wise here. Her hair, it gives a very cool shape and I do personally like it. But I don't know enough about these types of hairstyles or hair textures to tell you if it's any good or realistic. I've also glossed over the potential AI use, as we don't have any definitive proof. But for her and Bloom especially, it seems like the designs really went through the slop machine, and it's quite sad, honestly. And to illustrate that point, her outfit. I do not like it. To me, it's just a bad mismatch of different ideas that don't make sense together. The socks and boots are fine, but the open peplum skirt has a weird shape, and its cutout should have been smaller, or there should have been none at all, ideally. And making the length of the skirts and short equal or making the skirt longer would also make them look better. The designs in one of the leaks I think was a lot better with a more streamlined and longer skirt. The top is also a mess for me with the mesh and the random paneling and 4 shades of teal. And the teal. I don't know why Rainbow is so afraid of green tones, but her main color was always that darker green and she looked so good in it. So here's an edit. And my biggest issue here is that it's athletic wear. Aisha was always the sporty one, but her outfits, especially transformations, were never blatantly athletic wear. Unless all the girls were also in something similar in vibe. And that's what's pissing me off the most here. I've also seen conversations on Twitter of the fact that Rainbow is more and more just stripping her down to just being sporty, and that typecasting for the only black girl seems kind of problematic to me. But even without that context, this is not a good outfit in my opinion. Her wings, I do like as a standalone, but I find them overly detailed even for this transformation. And there's no immediate connection to water or morphics as they look more like flames. Which makes sense as I think Rainbow got lazy, and Bloom has a very similar but worse design, and I don't know whose were designed first here. Overall, though, I think she got the best transformation in its totality here. Honestly, they destroyed my girl. Bloom easily got the most budget and the most AI slop, which we'll get into later, but what they did with the budget makes no sense. I've been complimentary to most of the transformations for doing a good job of showing off the girl's powers. Bloom's is the only one that doesn't do this. The intro feels like Marvel in a very bad way. And why is she in a space nebula or drawing a heart over a galaxy? She is not the fairy of space and it has nothing to do with her powers, personality, or origin. So, what is happening here? The butterflies are the only thing I like because I assume they're for Daphne, which I think is a nice touch. Now, for the AI slop, the hair. There's been conversations about this as well on Twitter, but again, no confirmation of AI usage, and I'm not someone who can judge if the braids are cultural appropriation. But aside from that, for me, the hair is just fine. It's a voluminous ponytail with some braids, it's pretty basic, and it's hard to make that look bad. I don't like those 2 long, thin side braids though, and I wish they went with the Believix hair route if they wanted braids in her hair. The outfit is rough. The boots are just so basic, I really can't comment on them. But the fact that she and Stella have matching boots can only mean one thing. For the skirt, I like the shape of it the best, but its details make zero sense. Why is one side pleated and one side not? What is this cutout poofy thing? You cannot tell me a human designed this. It genuinely does not make any sense whatsoever. And the top. I like the concept. It reminds me of a dupatta or scarf top, but I hate the execution. If they removed the weird shoulder pad, it would have been so much better. I do like the inclusion of the darker blue though, and I think she got the best color palette because her main monochrome palette has enough of a distinction between the shades, and the pink accents are sparse but used well. I also think overall her outfit has the most sci fi vibes, which I find very interesting. Her wings are very similar to Aisha's, but though I prefer Aisha's design, I think they fit Bloom a lot more because of the shape being very flame-like. Overall, I think this is the worst transformation though. Overall, I have problems with quite a few things, so I'm going to try illustrating these with examples. With the individual and full sequence, my main issue is the pacing. It seems too jumpy for me. The song and the constant laughs the girls give are choices I understand but don't think were good. I think Rainbow forgot that the point of a transformation sequence is the transformation and its various details and not spinning around. To illustrate my point, I'm going to play four 10-second clips, all taken randomly from the OG Magic Winx waveform, the Reboot transformation, Mythics, which is a transformation I genuinely hate, and Mermaid Magic, a recent Rainbow property. Notice how they pause on the details of the transformation in Mythics, Mermaid Magic, and Winx, and how serious the girls are in the Winx sequence, because if they're transforming, they're going into battle or a perilous situation. Just imagine watching the tricks mid taking over the world, and the girls go from serious and ready to battle an undead army to laughing for 2 minutes and then right back to fighting for the fate of the universe. And the song doesn't help this. The OG has rock vibes, Mythics, as much of a joke as it is, keeps an ethereal quality and talks about them being invincible. Mermaid Magic is a little slow for my tastes, but the girls are not just spinning, they're showing off their weapons and powers. And Rainbow got Andrea Bocelli's daughter to sing the song. I'm sure she could handle something better than a song that sounds like a reject B-side from 6 years ago. Especially if they went the more classical ethereal route. I think she could have really aced that. And if you want something that sounds very pop and upbeat, why not collaborate with Cat's Eye, who literally went viral for cosplaying the Winx last year, or any other K-pop group. The biggest downgrade for me, however, is the art style. I've never been a fan of the Winx 3D styles. I think it makes everything look a lot worse than any of the 2D art styles Winx Club has used. But I had some hope with the leaks looking pretty good, just for this mess. And someone actually drew the transformations in the OG art style, and I think it looks a lot better. In this, they look so kiddish. A big draw of the original show were that these were older girls who were badass and they were going to college and had boyfriends. Even compared to Mermaid Magic, which is completely in a 3D art style, that art style seems much more refined. I get that the target audience isn't the old fans who are adults now, but young kids. But from what I know of Gen Alpha, I think they'd prefer a much more mature art style. Like, why didn't we use Fairy Couture? The Sephora kids would kill for that. And I know that's what made me fall in love with the Winx originally. The lack of distinct color coding also doesn't help, with nearly every girl having a pink to blue color palette or accent colors. Here's an edit that I found by a Redditor, and it shows how much better the overall effect would be if the colors were more distinct. The other big letdown for me, though I shouldn't be surprised, is the fashion. Now, a big reason people like the Winx is because of the clothes. Rainbow used to get fashion designers to help them design the girls' clothes, which is why the decrease in quality and the turn to AI especially is disappointing. Just the intros themselves are a letdown, with that sparkly cycling/swimsuit that they all start off in. If they wanted to cover the girls up, I wish they used light, like in most Winx transformations, or maybe something power specific for each girl, like vines or flower petals for Flora. Musa could be those floating cords that eventually made her outfit. Tecna could be wires or something. I think there were a lot of better options here. And I think a big reason for why the outfits aren't as good as they could be, other than how overcomplicated they are, is how conservative these designs are. If you look at Enchantix and basic Winx, they're actually pretty revealing. And I think in trying to make the reboot outfits more covered up, it really affects them in a negative way. For example, Aisha's look I've already discussed, but in my opinion, something like this Scott set, this tennis dress would have been a lot better for her silhouette wise. Stella's entire look would also be better with a micro mini. Musa's outfit would also be better with mesh in between instead of the cutouts. But I want to be clear that you can have designs that are more conservative but still good. The old reboot designs that were leaked were so much better than the Slopfest, and as you can see, they're about as covered up as these designs. To show how bad the fashion is, as an exercise, I took 30 minutes to make some quick mood boards for each of the girls from Vogue Runway and Pinterest. And when I say 30 minutes, I mean 30 minutes total for all 6 girls, plus 10 minutes for crediting and recoloring where necessary. And please keep in mind that these are largely not the exact outfits I would put on the girls, but general mood boards to jump off of and come up with something unique. Flora is the most antithetical to my personal likes, so the algorithm really didn't help me here. I've also stayed very feminine for her because she's always been one of the most feminine out of the Winx, and it seems to be continuing in the reboot. For the Chanel, I like the textures from the fringe and the gradient from the pink to the green. I think it would be a great gown starting point for her. The Gaurav Gupta top, do I even have to say anything, with the details looking like vines held in stasis? The Ellie Saab look is the other side of the coin to the Chanel look in my opinion. It has a bit more structure and edge, but is still flowy and feminine. The Area one has that very girly quality, but again, the cutouts give some edge, and I really like the silhouette of the boots and the skirt. For Tecna, I really like the nose look. It just gives me very futuristic and avant-garde, while still being very appealing. The concrete look was inspired by the Omega Dimension look, but I love the subtle detailing on the skirt and the shape of the top, and the entire vibe of this look is very Tecna for me. The David Koma look, this is how you should do neon detailing on the edges of garments. I also just really love cutouts for Tecna. Mugler, the leggings, perfection. I love the gradient. And the latex looking top over the dress I also think is very cool and something Tecna would do. For Musa, I immediately went to Diesel because I think 100% she would be a Diesel girl. Diesel is this very cool and kind of sexy brand that works mostly with denim. They recently, or like 2 years ago, went viral for their mini skirts. The Domenico look, I don't think it needs any explanation. It's very Y2K and still badass. The Missoni look is mostly for the colors. I think you could copy paste this outfit and Musa would look amazing. For Aisha, the disquared look is what I think they should have done if they wanted a more sporty vibe for her transformation. The GCDS look with the sparkles and the gradient hand warmers is just perfection. I also love the shape of the dress. And then just everything about the J.W. Anderson outfit. It's minimal but also detailed with the skirt reminding me of waves. He kills it every time. The Mugler look, Aisha would just 100% wear that and rock it. For Stella, you can tell I'm running out of time here, but I mainly went with brands I thought she would love. Schiaparelli is a very sculptural brand and is for me the definition of avant-garde and haute couture. Rabanne is known for sparkles and paillettes, which are basically giant sequins, but I think they also do very cool and interesting pieces, and Stella is someone who would 1000% just lounge in their looks. Mugler, I think I've given nearly every girl a Mugler look because I just love Mugler. But this one specifically reminds me of her base Winx transformation, just with a color switch. Ellie Saab, if you have a Pinterest board of pretty dresses, I guarantee this brand is on there because they just excel at making gorgeous things. Bloom, I'm sorry, but I only had 2 minutes for you. But for the Domenico look, I really like the skirt and the sash belt that uses the heart as a buckle and a transition. I just love that. Also the hand warmers. The Mark Fast look, you could spin that for either her daily look or her transformation. I particularly really like the top. The Hazardous look gives me warrior princess vibes. And the Tia Adeola look, I mean, just look at it. It would be a perfect jumping off point for either a transformation or a party look. At the end of the day, the reboot feels like a missed opportunity. There were some good ideas here, but the execution is very flawed, and I think the use of AI is also very problematic. I don't expect Rainbow to cater to adults, but kids deserve better than the watered down version of what we got. Like, Rainbow has the Netflix budget. They also have 20 years of legacy, but instead of elevating Winx for a new generation, they gave us half-baked 3D, nonsensical AI-generated fashion, and a song that will be forgotten by tomorrow. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. This video was a huge learning curve for me since I was using some completely new tools and my country was also on the brink of nuclear war, which, yeah, it's a very stressful situation as you can imagine, and I didn't want to post anything till the ceasefire was reached and maintained. But I promise the next videos will be better, including my season 4 rewrite that has a lot less boyfriend drama and more exploring of the magical lore of the earth. The first part should be up in 2 to 3 weeks, so subscribe if you're interested in that. And I hope to see you in the next video, which should either be a Pokemon speed paint or me having a complete breakdown over the magic system in the Winx universe, because it's a goddamn mess. Bye!